is Michael Scott Greco here with Louis Savoia. How are you, Louis?
Pretty good.
All right, so tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do in your spare time, what a usual day is like, if it helps explain your point.
Well, usually I'm working on stuff for the speech and debate team, which is primarily what I find myself doing with my life. And that's basically become my life ever since I joined.
So it's become your life, so it's basically taken over your life?
Essentially.
Or filled the hole of whatever was missing?
That might be a better way to explain it.
Okay. Speaking of that, what exactly is your specific adversity?
Well, I think as a person, I don't know if this is just my personality, but I typically find myself, it's difficult for me to make friends because I'm such a shy and reserved person, and my antisocial tendencies kind of get in the way of me actually doing something that might help my life, essentially.
Okay. How have you coped with your adversity?
Well, I think, in terms of coping,
did you feel the need to cope, or did you just ultimately solve it immediately?
It's not that it was like solved, but rather I think when I joined the team, I think it kind of went away a little bit, but it's still there. But I think in the time where I didn't have really anything to occupy my time, I think coping with it wasn't something that I really thought about doing. I just kind of thought that it was, me, and there was really no way to change that. So I guess I can say coping with it really wasn't one of the things that I was trying to do.
So was there anyone you went to for help or who got you on the team?
Well, to get me on the team, that would be Nick Duca, who was recently a senior, who graduated. And I met him when I was in 6th grade and he was a freshman in high school. And, basically just me knowing him as a person kind of drew me into the team. So I guess you could say he helped me in a way because he introduced me to something that I would eventually love. But I didn't really seek out any kind of help. So I guess you could say I didn't go looking for it, but
when it was offered to you, you took it.
Yeah, it kind of came to me.
Carpe diem. I think that was the phrase Mac used in your freshman orientation.
I remember that. I remember him using that.
Mm-hmm. So how has your adversity affected your mental state?
Well, I think it's definitely made me have less of a self-esteem, if there is any of that.
You say that with a smile.
Well, I say that because now I look back at myself before, and I'm happy with the position I'm in, even though I may still have certain levels of that adversity with me. Things don't really just go away. But
so it's always going to be a factor.
It's always going to be a factor, but I think in the past year of my life, I think it's become less of a factor.
Interesting. So how has this affected your daily routine? The adversity, not the overcoming.
How has it affected my life? Well, in a day, if there was somebody who I could potentially, become friends with, who was around me, I might shy away from them for whatever reason because of my personality, I guess. So I think it's made me a little bit more cagey as a person.
Cagey?
Yeah.
That's an interesting word that someone would use to describe himself.
Well, it's been done before. I mean, if you
it's been done before. It's just
you ever read One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest? That's the way that the chief in the book describes himself in the first page.
Okay, you're not supposed to be testing me on how well I read the Snyder books. Okay.
I know, but it's a parallel.
Okay. So, Louis, your ultimate solvency was joining this team.
Yeah. Yeah.
Have the people here helped you with that?
I think it wasn't that people, I sought out people to help me. or that people came to help me. I think it was just the way that it happened. I think being thrown into a group of people, and when I say thrown, I don't mean that in a negative way, but I think being, cast into a group of people that I was essentially forced to interact with, helped me kind of overcome that, and now I think I'm a happier person because of it. I think if you talked to me about a year ago, I think I'd have very different answers to give you.
It's interesting. Thank you, Mr. Savoia.